Good morning. I'm currently in the process of editing my day 2 video. So that's not done. Instead, what I'm gonna send you guys this morning is a video I took before I left Boston. I grew up, my first job was as a tour guide in the town of Lexington. And so I took some friends out a couple days before the wedding, just out to Lexington to quickly record a tour of the town common, which is where the first battle of the American Revolution was fought. So that's what you guys are gonna watch today. And tomorrow I'll send you a video of day 2, and then we'll keep going from there. That'll give me a little bit of a buffer so I don't have to stress too much about getting the videos all edited. So enjoy. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Lexington. This is Buckman Tavern. This is the site of many things. Most importantly, this is where I had my first job. I was a tour guide at this house when I was 16 years old, but this is actually where a group of militiamen who fought in the first battle of the American Revolution actually stayed the night before the battle, which happened right across the street over there. So today I'm just going to show you a little bit around Lexington and tell you a little bit about the site here. So, this is the Lexington Battle Green. The reason it is called the Lexington Battle Green is because this is in fact where the first battle of the American Revolution took place. It is called the Battle of Lexington. Now, I'm going to walk you around the Battle Green in just a second here. The first thing that I need you to understand, though, is that the battle in Lexington was a complete and utter accident. It was a failure on the part of everyone involved. Nothing was supposed to happen that morning. There is not a revolution, there is not a war, there is not the intent for a war. The British general down in Boston has told his soldiers that they're not supposed to break a fence, let alone kill someone. For the militia here in Lexington, they were forming up that morning more or less just to make a bit of a show, right? To stand out there and prove that they weren't afraid of the British soldiers. There was a group of about 80 militiamen, and in sum total, about 800 of the best trained, best armed soldiers that the world had ever seen in the form of the British soldiers. The militia did not think that they could win that fight, and they had no intent to fight that fight. What happened here in Lexington was an accident. Now, on that morning, the British soldiers arrived here in Lexington. They came down right this road here. This is Massachusetts Avenue. It is the same road that the British soldiers themselves came down. They would have marched down, and even though the town common has changed a little bit, it hasn't changed that much. This road right here continues on towards Concord. That is the objective that the British soldiers had. Their goal was to get to Concord to seize ammunition. This road went down essentially to nowhere. I could tell you a lot more about it, but we're gonna cut it down a little bit. When the British soldiers get here to Lexington, most of the soldiers keep on marching. About probably 600 of them don't even stop, right? There was a group of militia formed up right over where that rock was, right? You see that rock? That is the monument towards the militia, right? They lined up right about there, and about probably 200 British soldiers were brought out onto the town common. They would have formed up right about where this flag is today, and they faced off with the Lexington militia. Now, when the British soldiers face off with the Lexington militia, the question is, what are the British soldiers trying to do? Well, I said the Lexington militia were trying to make a bit of a show, right? We're not afraid of you, we'll stand and fight. The British, they were calling the bluff, right? The officer for the British soldiers. His name was probably Major Pitcairn. Most people agree that it was Pitcairn. He rides out to the Lexington militia on his horse, and he yells at them, "Disperse, ye rebels, disperse." Now, if you're one of the Lexington militia, you're standing back here, and you're looking at an army of soldiers that you know you could never beat. Now, maybe you yourself have this invincibility complex and think that you are going to be fine. Even if you think that, the fact of the matter is, if you start something, you might survive, but your friends and your family are going to be killed. The people out on the town common with you are people you've known your entire lives. The captain of the militia doesn't question. He turns to his soldiers, he says, "Go home, we're done." And the soldiers turn around, they start to march home, and then someone fired a shot. We'll never know who did it. Neither side had any reason to. The British soldiers shouldn't, the militia shouldn't. Nobody has any reason to fire a shot, but someone did. At this point, the British soldiers, they were woken up in the middle of the night, and they were told to start marching. They were told nothing up until this point. General Gage, he has tried to keep this all top secret, and so the soldiers, they were literally woken up in the middle of the night, rode across the Boston Harbor, dropped off in a swamp. They had to march out of the swamp. All this time, surrounded by alarm bells, surrounded by militia. They feel like they're in hostile territory. They are tired, they are nervous, they are soaked to the bone. They hear a shot fired, and they do what British soldiers almost never did. They broke ranks, they attacked the militia. They kill the first 8 men, they wound the first 10 of the American Revolution. That happened on this town common. That happened basically right where I'm standing. And this is the first battle of the American Revolution. So here we have the first monument in United States history, actually. This is more than just a monument. This is actually a grave. Of the 8 men who died here in Lexington, 7 of them are buried beneath this statue. The only one who is not is a man named Aschel Porter, who is from the town of Woburn, and he was since moved to Woburn.